Byron Buxton's commitment to the Twins, trade talks, and team dynamics. Byron Buxton firmly rejected trade inquiries, shedding light on the Minnesota Twins' recent sell-off at the trade deadline. Detroit, a firm stance from Buxton. Byron Buxton, the talented center fielder and two-time All-Star for the Minnesota Twins, never had to activate his no-trade clause. However, throughout July, his representatives consistently turned away teams interested in acquiring him, right up to the surprising trade deadline on Thursday. On Monday, Buxton confirmed that several teams had reached out to his agent, B.B. Abbott, to explore the possibility of him waiving his no-trade clause before any discussions with the Twins management. Reports indicate that at least 6 teams made contact, including the Atlanta Braves and New York Mets, who were particularly keen on Buxton's services. A commitment to Minnesota. Buxton made it clear during last month's All-Star Game press conference that he intends to remain with the Twins, a team that signed him to a lucrative 7-year contract worth $100 million in December 2021, laden with performance incentives. "It's always good to be wanted," Buxton remarked, "but the only place I want is Minnesota. All of my choices are easy. I ain't got but one place on my mind. That's how it'll be." During the media session on July 14th, Buxton was repeatedly questioned about the potential of being traded if the Twins opted to sell. He confidently stated that he would remain a Twin for life, thanks to his no-trade clause. Despite the ongoing interest from other teams, Twins president Derek Falvey reassured Buxton that the organization did not initiate any trade discussions when they met over the weekend in Cleveland. This meeting also served as a chance for Falvey to check on Buxton's well-being after a tough day when 8 of his teammates were traded, including his close friend Carlos Correa. Buxton's loyalty and leadership. Buxton's unwavering commitment to the Twins is rooted in his belief that he is the team's pulse, contributing significantly with his energy and work ethic. While he expressed disappointment over the departure of 10 players from the MLB roster, he is optimistic about the opportunities that young players will now have. "Nobody expected all the moves," Buxton said. "But for me, I knew I ain't going nowhere. Even though it's a lot of chaos, it's still calm within to know it is what it is. It's part of the process. Obviously, you don't want that to be the case. But we've got a young group of guys where these last 2 months will be fun. We've just got to come out and play hard and play good baseball and see where it takes us." While other teammates opted to waive their no-trade clauses or expressed a desire to be traded, Buxton remained steadfast. He recognized that he had found a home in Minnesota, both when he first joined the majors and again when he signed his extension. "Where I come from, your word means everything," Buxton stated. "My track record of how I'm still here and how I got here is different. You've got to have a lot of people behind you. Not just the family, but everybody. Minnesota. They did that. That's home." The Louis Varland trade. If you're feeling frustrated about the trade involving Louis Varland, you're not alone. Varland is frequently mentioned by his former teammates as the player they were most surprised to see leave at the trade deadline. While some players were expected to be traded due to their impending free agency, Correa's trade was primarily a financial move for a team facing an uncertain future. Joan Duran and Griffin Jax were also traded as they were due for significant raises in arbitration, yielding good returns for the Twins. The trades of Varland and Brock Stewart, however, raised eyebrows within the clubhouse. Both players were on manageable contracts, and while some teammates understood the decision to trade Stewart, who has a history of injuries, Varland has remained healthy and is thriving in his first full season in the bullpen. Many believe he could soon step into a high-leverage role in a bullpen that has several vacancies. Despite the challenges of executing the trade, Falvey and the Twins are thrilled with the return they received from Toronto. They acquired outfielder Alan Rodin, who they believe has the potential to become a regular player, and are particularly excited about left-handed pitcher Kendry Rojas, currently in AAA. You have a left-handed starting pitcher in AAA that's throwing 93 to 98, doesn't walk guys, and gets a ton of swing and miss, Falvey explained. There aren't many of those guys walking around that have that kind of ability. If it was an easy decision, no one would be discussing it. We'll have to judge that some years from now. We made the decision that upside starting pitching with that kind of talent and a potential everyday position player, or a guy that could contribute here soon, for a guy who we really like, who's a good reliever, we felt like was the right kind of trade for us to make. The end of an era for the 2025 Twins. The original vision for the 2025 Twins effectively came to an end on July 26th. A series loss the previous weekend in Colorado had already put the front office on alert about becoming sellers. But a disheartening 9-3 loss to the Washington Nationals sealed the deal. Although the Twins executives had hoped for a turnaround, the reality of losing to two of baseball's weakest teams made the decision to sell much clearer. That kind of solidified a little more of where we thought we were headed, Falvey noted. Just 2 weeks prior, the Twins were preparing to buy at the deadline, buoyed by a successful 6-3 homestand that included series wins against the Tampa Bay Rays and Chicago Cubs. Falvey and general manager Jeremy Zoll indicated that the front office was ready to navigate both buying and selling strategies. We're probably going to need to prepare a little bit of both for a little while, and I know that takes a ton of bandwidth for the staff. But let's just be prepared as best as possible, depending on how we do, Falvey advised. Taking time with new acquisitions. Despite Mick Abel, James Outman, and Taj Bradley all having played in the majors this season, the Twins decided to have them start at AAA St. Paul. While Abel and Bradley were already at AAA, Outman had spent most of the season there, but had played in the majors for 3.5 weeks leading up to the trade deadline. The Twins wanted their new acquisitions to adjust to the organization before making their major league debuts. Those guys we hope are really long-term significant impact players for us, Falvey said. The last thing you want to do is have guys come to the big leagues in a new environment, new staff, new everything. And by the way, I'm working on something. If you can get some of that work done in AAA to invest in the long-term future for that guy's career, it's usually a little bit better. That was our goal. Get them there to start working on the things we think they need to work on, and then find a way to get them up here to see them at this level sooner rather than later. Preparation pays off. The Twins felt that their preparations leading up to the trade deadline allowed them to act swiftly and make informed decisions, even as the deadline approached. They proactively assessed the market for their players with significant trade value, working ahead with teams to gauge potential destinations. Our group was unbelievably prepared. With meetings starting last Thursday to level set on our eye levels for different players that teams were expressing interest in, and to work through all of the top prospects in each of the relevant systems, Zoll shared. The Twins believed their thorough preparation paid off when they successfully traded Willie Castro, along with Jax and Varland, engaging with 8 different teams in the process. When you're finally in there, you know what your asks are. Falvey explained. You know what would motivate you to go, and you know what isn't going to be motivating. If you hear something and you're like, yeah, that's just not going to get to the level, maybe you provide a little bit of feedback back around what the deal would need to look like. And if they say, we're not doing that, then you're good. You put it to bed. You move on to the next team. Conclusion. As the Twins navigate this transitional phase, the decisions made at the trade deadline will undoubtedly shape the future of the franchise. What are your thoughts on the trades? Do you agree with the direction the Twins are taking, or do you think they should have held on to their key players? Share your opinions in the comments.